uncovering the light. Yes, with solid minds, no tales of the strange. In Sasquatch Secrets, they'll begin to rearrange. Truth's the vibe, we're on a quest. Look beyond the trees, what do you see? Factual stories redefining history. No myths, no magic, let's break the mold. With every word spoken, the wonders unfold. Footprints in the snow, not just a myth. Data and research was sift through the pit. Tales of a creature, but science leads the way. Nikki's quest for knowledge, come join and stay.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Secrets. I'm your host, Nikki Colon. Happy Sunday. Another Sunday. What a fast week for me. Seemed pretty fast anyway. Let's see who we've got in the house. We got Henry. Hey, Henry. Hugs to you too. Angel Nolan, Sandra Piper, Gary Johnson. Hello. Glenn Hales. Hey. Hi from, you are in Cruces, right? So how are you doing? Robert Duvin is in the house. We've got Sharon. Stay awake, Sharon. Stay awake. Do you need toothpicks to hold your eyelids open? I don't know how you do it. I would just watch me in the morning. Did I say Mark from Good Day to Mark? And I know I saw Danny Staten in the house. So hello, everybody, and welcome to another week. Got a great show for you tonight. Something I normally don't talk about much. So we're going to be talking about Paralyzed by the Paranormal, Bigfoot or the brain. Okay. And we'll get into more of that. But let me go ahead and bring on my guest. Hello, Tate.
Am I coming through loud and clear?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. You're not going to get to see Tate because he's in his hot tub.
That's how I roll, drinking down a Voodoo Ranger IPA.
Ew.
In my backyard in the hot tub.
Well, at least you showed up. That's all that matters. That's all that matters right now. Yeah, I've never been an IPA girl. I have never found one I could stomach. Oh,
I'm not really an IPA, but honestly, it kind of grows on you after a while. And I mean, I'm not like my first go-to is a stout. Second to that is like a lager, but IPAs are at the bottom of my list. I just don't want to drive to the store right now.
Yeah. I'm a Dos Equis girl generally, but I do like a good German wheat lager ale, you know.
Ooh, yeah.
So
yeah, my favorite is Pabst Blue Ribbon. Second to that, is Guinness all the way.
Never did get into Guinness either. But hey, let's shuffle us around a little bit. And so today's topic, Bigfoot or the brain. You know, it's a strange connection there that we wanted to talk about. Nighttime experiences, exploring how sleep paralysis could explain some supposed Bigfoot encounters.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've been thinking. That's That's what I've been kind of like delving into, I guess, recently. But I kind of mentioned it publicly here and there, but I haven't really delved into it too much. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to preface, I am by no means an expert. This is just my opinion on what I think might be
Right.
going.
We're just talking, we're just having a conversation, and that's, you know, what um Robert says, "Wow, Tate, that's a huge gap between Paps and Guinness." It is.
it's the it's, I realize the gap. It's like, man, I love heavy metal music, and then I'm gonna like listen to Bob Dylan right after.
I can do that. I can listen to anything except for the new rap stuff. Ugh, no, can't do that. Um Anyway, so I guess first we should define what we're talking. Well, here was my question. You know, I always start the whole show with a question, and what if your scariest Bigfoot encounter wasn't real, but a trick of your brain?
Ooh, I like that.
Okay. So that's kind of the questioning we're going on down this line. But we need to define what sleep paralysis is. So it's a temporary inability to move or speak while waking or falling asleep, often accompanied by vivid hallucinations or a sensation of a presence.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
And
I preface that real quickly by saying that's where people kind of, I don't, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't think a lot of people actually know what sleep paralysis is. That's why I think a lot of people still think sleep paralysis is a form of astral projection, which
mhm,
is like an out of body experience, which falls under the category of paranormal, where sleep paralysis does not. Because sleep
mhm.
paralysis involves a natural scientific thing of when you fall asleep called REM sleep. And basically, what it is, it's a part of your brain that helps you sleep where you don't act out your dreams, more or
Yeah,
less.
it
You don't.
paralyzes you so that you don't hurt yourself. And that's also where people who are sleepwalkers sometimes don't have that very strong in their
To like stop
um
them from
that
acting out
to
their
stop
dreams.
them from getting up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found my sister in the kitchen one time with a big old knife making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know,
that's that's
was
scary.
it's that's what it helps you to not hurt yourself, you know. And I have had sleep paralysis twice, and they were both different. They were both different, but the more that I today have been learning about sleep paralysis, I think it was all the same thing. um because what happens is that we attach a paranormal connection to this sleep paralysis, and it's historically been done. And
Yeah, it has.
we've people have tried to connect demons and ghosts and alien abductions to this phenomenon. Well, it's not a phenomenon, it's real. It's
It's yeah, it's a real thing. It's I and like I said, I think people who are very unaware of what sleep paralysis is assume it is paranormal, especially if
Mhm.
you're into the paranormal already, but you don't know what sleep paralysis is. It's
Right.
very easy to make a connection like, oh my god, I saw someone in my room and I could not move and speak, and it was
Mhm.
a demon.
um Now, I have told stories about my first sleep paralysis where I did feel like I was being held down, and I did feel like it was a dark presence there. But at the time, we were having other paranormal experiences in our new house here. We had just built this house, we broke ground here. So there were other circumstances that made me connect that, with the paralysis. I don't know if it was associated or not, but it was scary nonetheless. And I mean, I went the whole 9 yards and blessed the house and all of that bit. And, I hadn't had another occurrence up until I started working again. And that's one of the key things, is that my sleep habits changed. And that's something that happens with this sleep paralysis. It's one of the
It's one of many triggers. There's like sleep
triggers,
deprivation.
right? Sleep
Uh,
deprivation, irregular sleeping
yeah,
patterns, your age, mental condition. Sleeping on your back is another common thing. And I was sleeping on my back both times.
yep.
And substance abuse or drug abuse of any kind, those can
So
all lead to hallucinations.
for I just want to say this real quickly for those who do not want to experience sleep paralysis. If you might be prone, what I do is I actually sleep on my side as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's kind of like a cheat around sleep paralysis because you can't go into sleep paralysis while on your side for some reason. It has
Mm-hmm.
happened before, which I read, but it's more rare than if you're sleeping on your back.
Right. So, according to anecdotal stories and folklore, some reported Sasquatch encounters while asleep involved the creature entering a person's tent or cabin at night, sometimes even lifting them from their sleeping bags, and with some accounts describing being carried away for a period of time before being released, often with no explanation for the encounter. One of the most famous examples of this story, of course, is Albert Ostman, who was carried away. He claimed to have been abducted by Sasquatch while sleeping in a remote Canadian wilderness area. So, we have older stories, we have newer stories, we have people who often say that they felt something touching them while they were in their sleeping bag, or being awoken to shadowy figures. And that is the common thing here, the common
Yeah,
link.
it's just so I don't know exact. Obviously I'm no expert, like I said, but I wonder because I've had sleep paralysis. I still get it. To like just about 4 days ago, I just kind of been all over the place mentally and physically, and I was tired, and I went to bed early, and I had an occurrence of sleep paralysis because I couldn't move. I'm like, I hate it every time, but
Yeah.
I didn't hallucinate with it. And so what I'm getting at is one time I had sleep paralysis, and I saw like a kid run from where my bedroom door was over to a dresser that wasn't in my room, reached on the top shelf of the dresser and grabbed something. I went to yell at him, but I couldn't. So
Oh,
it makes me wonder if the hallucinations that some people do see during an episode of sleep paralysis are based off irrational fears that they already have in the moment. Like, what would be the scariest thing that you could have happen to you?
right.
So I wonder if somebody is already having dreams about Bigfoot and they had an episode of sleep paralysis, is there going to be like a Bigfoot kind of hallucination that they're going to get with a sleep paralysis episode? Or, and that's kind of where I want to delve into the subject a little bit more and see if there's more of a correlation between sleep paralysis and possible misidentification of Bigfoot. And like I told you earlier today, um, sleep paralysis is not paranormal. I'm 100. I'll argue with anybody tooth and nail about that. Um, so does people have sleep paralysis and misidentification with Bigfoot? I think it falls into the term of pareidolia at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep paralysis occurrences in the field.
Yeah. Uh, there are all kinds of side effects, with this type of thing. Anything could spur on this type of sleep paralysis, and missing sleep, being There's even diabetes type 2 and impaired immune systems and a bunch of other things that have also been attributed to possible causation of having these type of paralysis. So it's a very wide range, and the studies are ongoing right now. There is a lot of studies going on, but there isn't any solid facts stating this is what it causes it, period. It's just wide variety according to each person, how, what they will experience. And some accounts, like I said, of lifting a person off of the bed, carrying them off to different locations, potentially for observation or unknown reasons, hence comes in the alien abduction stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's like everything kind of gets muddled together, in my opinion. I think you got your like right siders and left siders, but in there in the middle there's a gray line where it kind of blends the two, and it's they kind of the people in the middle kind of accept both sides, but then you got your left and rights who accept one side or the other.
right.
But like I said, I think again, I think sleep paralysis is still kind of a new thing. I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, surprisingly, but it's kind of been proven that there's nothing paranormal about it, because it involves literally factors of your brain that have to work right in order to not trigger it or trigger it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. Oh, you know what? I don't even have this set right here. Hold on one second. Kind of curious to know how many people out there have had sleep paralysis in the chat. So I was gonna put what do you call it?
Like a poll, I guess.
I was gonna add a poll. Let me add a quick poll here. Just a yes and no. Have you had sleep paralysis? Oops, that's spelled wrong.
So yeah, sleep for those kind of sleep paralysis involves you can't move. It feels like you have a shortness of breath. Your mind, your eyes can be open and be fully aware of what's going on. Some people hear and report like hearing a white noise, kind of a sound. Others have hallucinations on top with the can't move, hard to breathe with the white noise. So those are like what people might experience. As far as like what causes it, I think we kind of went through it. Sleep deprivation, irregular sleep schedule, psychological stress, different things like that. And in the chat that I told you earlier, Nikki, this morning, I was saying that's what a lot of Bigfoot researchers do subject themselves to. Because if you think about it, a lot of Bigfoot researchers are in the field or up at irregular times. They're up at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, or they're up early, up late, whatever it be. And, sometimes a lot of these gatherings happen around alcohol. And I'm not saying people are getting drunk, because that's a completely different thing. I'm saying you have alcohol or sugar, like soda for that matter. That all plays a factor while you're in the field. And if you're prone to sleep paralysis and don't know it, and you had all that happened while you're in the field, and you get sleep paralysis, are you going to chalk it up to possibly there was a Bigfoot outside my tent messing with me, and I couldn't move? Did it zap me with infrasound?
Right.
Or did I have a case of sleep paralysis and I was hallucinating, and I chalked it up to be Bigfoot because I didn't know what was going on?
I don't think we'll ever know that. We'll ever know those answers. It's so individualized, each of those experiences. But hey, I see Brown Dwarf in the chat. we sent you a link to the show. If you want to come on, Glenn, you can certainly do that. I don't know. Tate was having issues with the link, with sending you the link.
Yeah, I was trying to send her the link, but it had like a full Facebook link to the link of the StreamYard. So
That's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
I've never had that happen yet, but first time for everything.
And Wizard says, Nikki, for the first time that I can remember, I awoke frozen and couldn't move. I tried to think if I was in a dream. Nothing came to mind. Nothing was happening, like noises or anything. But you were frozen.
Yeah, I do want to also say, I don't think the whole white noise thing happens every time. I think like it varies from person to person, because this last time I had it was like 4 days ago, and I didn't hear any white noise at all. I just couldn't move and everything.
Yeah, I could totally hear the news on the TV because I had the TV on. I could hear everything that was going on and I couldn't move.
Yeah,
and the first one was scary and the second one was not. The second one, I think I knew enough about sleep paralysis that I just calmed down, and because at first it's, it jars you. It's like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah, it really it freaks me out every time. But like you said, I know enough about it now where when it happens, I'm like, okay, I know what just happened to me.
Yeah.
And I go right back to bed.
Yeah, and then you release, your body releases you, and then you can move again. And I flip over to my side as soon as I can, and you're like, oh, I hate that, But that was my second time doing it. But I had started working again. My whole sleep schedule was different. I was exhausted. I was having restless leg syndrome. And that I cannot sleep when that happens, because I've been doing so much walking lately.
I was checking the chat, and Grasshopper said, if you can pull up his comment, the sleep paralysis. Yeah, that one. So it's one step to astral projection. So that's what I'm talking about when people are getting the lines confused between paranormal and scientific. Paranormal is unexplainable. I mean, if you think about that, what are ghosts? They're paranormal. It's not a scientific thing. Sleep paralysis happens with REM sleep. Can you still hear me? I pulled up So sleep paralysis is a scientifically understood sleep disorder caused by a disruption in the sleep cycle, often leading to hallucinations while transitioning between sleep stages, and is not related to supernatural occurrences. So that's what sleep paralysis is. It happens between what's called REM sleep, REM sleep, rapid eye movement. And like I said before earlier in the live, it's what it does is it protects your body from injuring itself in the middle of sleeping, so you don't act out your dreams. Because if you're acting out your dreams, that's like the next step towards not astral projection, but sleepwalking, which sleepwalking is very dangerous. Astral projection is considered paranormal because there is currently no scientific evidence to support the idea that consciousness can exist outside the physical body, making it a phenomenon that falls outside the realm of established scientific understanding. Most evidence of astral projection is anecdotal and based on personal experiences. So,
yeah,
that's kind of where all that falls into place. So, sleep paralysis does not fall under the same umbrella as paranormal.
I had a great article, and now I can't find it. I don't know how I lost it, but oh well. I don't want to mess everything up over here, so I'll just keep going on. I know I have a picture of it somewhere. But it has been studied that while under sleep paralysis, you do see or have the feeling of a presence. Whether your brain makes it out to be alien, Sasquatch, ghosts, what are the dark figures, that it does that. You know, you are in a completely different state of mind. And it does cause that feeling. It's a paranoia feeling. And your brain acts that out.
There's
And
the
in
key.
my
There's the key that you just said, Nikki. Paranoia versus paranormal.
Yeah. And because in my first encounter with this, I swore I could feel fingers holding me down and a dark presence over me.
You know what's crazy? Here's what's are you able to look up on YouTube? Can you look up a video and maybe play a section of it?
Uh-huh.
So again, go to my YouTube channel. Let me know when you're there. I mean, if anybody could set the record straight on this, it would be somebody very beloved in the Bigfoot community. if that the South Park Bigfooter.
Okay, I'm there.
So scroll. If you go to my videos, scroll down to Uncovering the Truth of Sasquatch. And I don't know if it'll pull up like little markers or whatever within the video itself that says what is what, but there's a part in there that says sleep paralysis.
Okay, one moment. Uncovering. Is it near the end?
Let me double check.
Oh, wait. I thought I just right here. I got it.
There should be like automatic chapters for some reason.
Yeah, Act 3, sleep paralysis.
Yep, that's it. If you wanna, you could share that whole little clip. It's not very long.
Although there are a great number of Bigfoot reports that are credible, misidentification of Bigfoots are most likely. A short glimpse of a bear, a deer, or even a stump. But what about when people say that they couldn't move or that something was holding them down? Was it Bigfoot? Or was it something else? Something perhaps not as elusive as Bigfoot, but something that can be just as scary.
I think a lot of those reports were there. I woke up to something, or I was just falling asleep and I heard something. I think a lot of that could be sleep paralysis because I had it happen to me before I even knew what it was. And I swore for years I had a demon sit on my chest, and I was awake because I was totally conscious. But then I found out, I read some articles, and these scientists sent me, that I met through Bigfooting, sent me these reports and scholarly journals on sleep paralysis. And when I read it, I'm like, oh man, that's exactly what I had.
I don't think there's necessarily a connection between the Sasquatches and any other sort of psychological phenomenon, whether it's sleep paralysis or hallucinations or anything like that. I personally don't think so. Lots of people do. But again, I'm an evidence-driven researcher, not a speculative one in such a way. Like, I don't chase those down as hard as I do the evidence.
Sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is the state during waking up or falling asleep. During an episode of sleep paralysis, a person may hallucinate. They may hear, feel, and even see things that aren't there. Sleep paralysis can be triggered by sleep deprivation, psychological stress, and abnormal sleep cycles, which is something that Sasquatch researchers often subject themselves to. So the question is, could some of the misidentification reports of Sasquatch be as simple as a common occurrence of sleep paralysis?
One thing that I've noticed, kind of studying this phenomenon, is that a lot of people will have weird experiences in the woods and immediately assume it was Bigfoot related. If you have a weird experience in the woods, why should you assume it's Bigfoot related? I think that a lot of reports of these weird things, they may happen to these people, but I haven't experienced anything like that, so I can't, I don't know if it's Bigfoot related. I tend to think it's not.
I do tend to believe that lack of sleep and, other contributing factors can lead to a lot of misidentification, as, one could take away from experiences in wartime or anything like that. But I definitely think that cannot explain away a lot of the incidences that happen out in the field.
Here's an example. A sleep-deprived Bigfoot researcher dozing in and out of sleep. All of a sudden, one of the times they wake up, they're not able to move and only able to see. They see and hear a shadowy figure outside their tent walking around and begins to mess with their tent. And as quickly as it all began, it's gone.
People who experience things like sleep paralysis report seeing dark shadows and feeling like they can't move. And, there are a lot of those sort of things that bleed over into Bigfoot sightings. I've heard reports of people waking up in the middle of the night in their tents and seeing a big shadow outside of their tent, and they can't move and they're terrified, and this thing kind of moves around. And that does fall within the idea of sleep paralysis enough that I'd be willing to consider that an option.
Could it have been Sasquatch? The possibility is there, but the possibility is also there for it to have been sleep paralysis. For Tate Hieronymus, sleep paralysis is a recurring event, and it's something that makes him wonder if it's all part of the equation in misidentifying Sasquatch.
Yeah, that was the whole bit right there. But I think that kind of gave a glimpse into what I really wanted to delve into more in a Bigfoot documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, just going through it myself and then researching Bigfoot and then hearing everybody else kind of like, oh, I had this weird thing happen where I was in the field and this and that happened. Then it kind of makes me wonder. I was like, there's got to be a connection here because everybody's connecting paranormal and aliens and whatever with Bigfoot, but
Right.
from my experience as sleep paralysis, from what I experienced, I'm like, dang, that could be a potential thing that happens in the field all the time, and maybe nobody's well versed on sleep paralysis to know that could be what's happening, so they don't report it, or they report Bigfoot activity instead of it being misidentification. Because to misidentify sleep paralysis for a Bigfoot encounter, if you're really heavily already into like the paranormal side, would be extremely difficult, and it chalks up to paranormal activity, not psychological, phenomenon like sleep paralysis or a scientific thing like sleep paralysis, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, definitely people in the community have talked about it, okay? Because as I went looking for articles and what was going on, there was a Reddit feed exactly talking about, do you think some sightings could be down to sleep paralysis? Could that be one of the factors? And it was, good little conversation there. Even the Daily Star had Sasquatch can freeze humans into state of panic paralysis, warns experts. There were these kinds of hit pieces and stuff like that out there. And this was the actual site I wanted to pull up, but this one was about Rinpoche, who is a Buddhist priest out of Malaysia, and he talks about sleep paralysis and goes more in depth about certain visions that are seen while you are experiencing sleep paralysis. I mean, there's a witch, there's the dark figure, there's the thing on top of you, there's demons, he has a whole list that he goes through. And I do have where did I put it? Somewhere.
I'll be looking for where did I put that note?
Yeah, I have it here on my written notes, but easy access to post it in the thing, because the other day I got hit by putting a link in my description for one of the articles. So I'm kind of like hesitant now to put links of articles in my my descriptions, because it's a pain in the butt to clear.
Yeah.
It is. So I'm gonna probably stop doing that. If you want to know an article or whatever, just look it up. Sleep paralysis, medical, paranormal. You'll probably go right to that article.
Well,
but
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna finish off by saying it was a great little site he had, that he had all this information on, and wanted to talk about that. But so I found where it says 7.6% of the general population, 28.3% of students, and 31.9% of psychiatric patients experience at least one episode of sleep paralysis. Of the psychiatric patients with panic disorder, 34% reported lifetime sleep paralysis. And again,
psychiatric then.
Yeah, it goes towards sleep deprivation, because that's what you find, is that the common factor is that these people aren't sleeping well.
Well, that, and I mean, I'm sure psychiatric patients have a lot of psychological stress.
Yeah.
Which is another key factor in sleep process when you look it up on Wikipedia or wherever. It's sleep deprivation and psychological stress those are two of the key factors among a few other things.
Okay, so I'm going to end this poll here. So if you want to get in your last chance to put your opinion on, have you had sleep paralysis, do that right now, because I'm going to end the poll. We've got 25 in there right now, but I'm going to go ahead and end that poll now. And it came up with 56% no, have not had sleep paralysis, and 43% out of 25 you have had an experience.
That just kind of goes to what I think in the thing that I put out. I told you, like, from anywhere from 5% between 40%. I don't know if I was talking about the U.S. population have experienced sleep paralysis, which is a very low number. And right there, it just shows you that a higher percentage hasn't experienced sleep paralysis and less has.
Yeah, less has.
And that's just in this group chat or in this live chat alone. So expand that to the United States. And to be honest, I really don't think anybody who delve into paranormal or anything like that might be aware of what sleep paralysis is, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. What Sovereign says, Know this: as soon as you start getting paralyzed, calling upon Jesus Christ or call upon your Father, aka true or living God, and it will stop. This combined with trying to shake a finger, toe, it works. Now, I'm going to tell you, I did that on my first time and it worked. It seemed to work. But the second time I did this, which was 4 weeks ago, I've already been working 4 weeks. It did not work. It did not work at all. And that's when my mind went, I'm just falling asleep. And then I was released after I acknowledged that I was having a paralysis moment and I could turn over. So
Yeah,
that's not always the case either.
yeah.
One time it worked and one time it didn't.
I think I don't think it's that really does work at all. I'm a very religious person myself. You may know Nikki or not. I don't know.
I did not know.
I won't delve into that, but I don't get involved in paranormal aspects. So, like, my research on Bigfoot is strictly flesh and blood. And that being the case, I don't believe in the paranormal. Like, I from just being a religious person, I believe in what are demons, which form themselves as quote unquote ghosts. But that's a topic for another conversation. But every time I get sleep paralysis, regardless, I always, do that where I like, oh gosh, you help me here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't always work. And it's different for everybody else. What it has said is sleep paralysis may last a couple minutes to a few seconds. So
Yeah.
it's different for every person. Every episode is different.
I've never had it last very long at all.
Yeah, neither. I've had it. I mean, I don't get it like every day, every other week, every other month, but I get it once in a while. I've had it at least 8 times throughout 31 years, and my last time was just a few days ago. And every time was different, and they don't last very long.
What I have up right now on the screen is just there is a number of studies going on about sleep paralysis, and National Institute of Health and Science Direct and a bunch of different sleep foundations are currently doing studies on this. So it's up and coming. More and more information is going to be found out about this, and hopefully we can see exactly what may cause this. Eventually they'll start recording the brain as somebody is
Just going through
having an episode. Yeah,
because there's a YouTube video that I watch of somebody inducing themselves with sleep paralysis. When you watch a video, it looks like they're just sleeping.
Yeah,
it is. It's just the whole time, the whole video,
just them sleeping.
That's it. Nothing happens. Like, there was nothing floating around on tables by them. There wasn't like a light flickering. Their blankets weren't. It looked like if somebody just like, hey, I'm going to record a POV of you watching me sleep for like 30 minutes. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, so that was very anticlimactic.
Well, it would be, it's kind of one of those subjects that probably is boring as heck to research.
You would think with sleep paralysis, if it was some kind of paranormal thing, you would see physical evidence on camera of happening to somebody during an episode of sleep paralysis. But when somebody films themselves having an episode of sleep paralysis and there's absolutely nothing going on camera, that tells me it's all psychological. It's in the brain. It's not a physical thing going on around you.
Right.
Explain that one.
I don't know. I haven't recorded myself having in one of those episodes. I don't know anybody who has. It's going to be in one of those studies somewhere that you'll have to deep dive into. But I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Are we predisposing ourselves to creating Bigfoot while we're out there sleeping in our tents?
Yeah.
And we have Bigfoot on the brain. And
Let's-
then we have one of these
Yep.
experiences of sleep deprivation and have a paralysis moment, and bam, you have the perfect storm for something.
It's literally what it, and like I said, like I think at that point in time when you have an episode of sleep paralysis but you don't know what it is, but you chalk it up to be Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
when in fact it's sleep paralysis. I think at that
Yeah.
point in time, sleep paralysis falls under the umbrella of pareidolia, where you start to see things that aren't there, aka like faces in the trees and bushes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, and now we do get into that whole pareidolia thing you wanted to talk about. You know, our mind is a crazy thing. It can create monsters.
and like
And you
have to happen with Bigfoot research. I mean, you want to have a good example, or go to, if you could do like a scientific example at home. Basically, I say scientific. That's the way I'm describing it. I'm not a scientist, but like what I'm saying is, like, you look up at the sky and you see clouds. Try and like spot like faces or cartoon characters that look familiar. Like, hey, that one looks like a duck, or that looks like Goofy. That cloud, you know.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
cloud looks like Rolls Royce. That's a classic form of pareidolia, where you're seeing things that aren't really there, because you could ask somebody, hey, do you see that duck in the sky, like in the shape of the clouds? And like, I don't see that at all.
Yeah. And we've all seen, even Brent recently put out a bunch of pictures of moss squatches, stump squatches.
Yep.
And if you go look at them, they look really good. If you were to see those at night, it would scare the bejesus out of me, Some of them look really scary looking, and you put yourself in those situations where you're in the dark out there, your mind takes over. You can get yourself really hyped up and scared of things in the dark. And
it's funny because people say they'll act one way, like, oh man, if that was me, I wouldn't do that, or that wouldn't happen.
Right.
But when you're in that moment, you're like,
you don't know what's going to happen. I'm one of them. I was frozen in my tent when that thing chawed at me between, in the tent, and I couldn't get up to look at what it was.
Yeah.
I could not get up to look at what it was.
Yeah. Saying what you might do and saying what, and when it happens in the moment, what you're going to do are two completely different things.
Yeah.
It's just that, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
In reality, I was super scared that it was a bear and that I didn't have anything to protect myself. And I knew that a bear could hurt me. And I wasn't as scared for a Bigfoot. I was scared for a bear.
Yeah.
And so it kept me right where I was, quiet as a mouse as I could be, and I didn't move, the whole night until the morning.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's I always wonder, like, I've never had an episode of sleep paralysis while in the field yet. I've only had it like in the comfort of my home, but like, that's why it kind of begs the question to me, like, if there's a connection between the two. Like, I mean, there's got to be, just not in the way not a paranormal connection in the way people might think there is, but in like
Henry.
Like a scientific connection that people should think it would be in.
Yeah. So that's kind of what the connection, that we're making is, it's part of our fears, and we have it on the brain. Whether you tell yourself, I'm not going to let that happen or not, you really don't have control over that.
No, you don't.
You really don't, for reals.
Well, you don't. It's like, people don't have control over the dreams that they're gonna have. I mean, if you do, you must have some kind of great power. But like, I know for myself, I'm like, man, there's a dream that I had last night. I'm gonna try and dream about the same thing, or continue my dream.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, people, this is not a Chris Nolan movie where you can continue dreaming or whatever. This is a real psychological, scientific human thing going on in your brain that some of us are chemically imbalanced than others, or vice versa, and that's all that's happening.
Yeah, we don't have that control. And Just Steve says bears will run. Not all bears will run. Some bears will attack.
Bears only run if you fart and your gas is bad enough.
Listen, again, Brent has this video of him like, I don't know what, 10 feet away from a bear. It is not running away.
I gotta watch this video.
It is just sitting there eating or grubbing or whatever it's doing there in the bushes, and it's not running. It also depends on the bear too. I mean, I know black bears are more skittish, but brown bear and grizzlies are not.
I kind of relate bears to dogs in a way, you know. Some dogs are just like they want you to pet them no matter what you do, no matter what you say. You're like, hey, get away, but they won't leave. And then some bears are like, oh, you're boring, I'm gonna leave.
I can't stop worrying about it. I constantly am thinking about bears, constantly when I'm out there.
I'm not, like. It's funny. I still have like an irrational fear while camping and stuff. Like, and I've admitted this on other podcasts. I'm still a timid person in the dark camping. But you kind of, the more you do it, the more you kind of like realize there's nothing to worry about too far.
Oh God.
Oh.
That's funny.
I'm not too worried about bears. What I'm worried about are people and mountain lions. That's what scares me.
Oh, Steve. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. How might cultural expectations influence what people see?
Oh, I think
because there's a whole new thing there when you think about folklore and maybe the indigenous people, the natives who use of peyote or other things to enhance mind travel, sweat lodges and stuff. That takes them to a whole different realm, area, spiritualism, whatever you might want to say, to see these creatures as well.
I can't speak too much on that, nor do I want to, because I really don't want to offend anybody,
right,
or speak out of place. I do respect the native culture, so I'm just saying what I experienced, my personal experience. And like I said this before, when it comes to sleep paralysis, I will argue with people that it is not a paranormal thing. So outside that, I always offer and show respect for anything else. You know what I'm saying? I just want that to be clear.
Yeah. No, we won't go too much into it because I don't know about all that. I mean, I'm referencing it because it's another aspect of this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But it's another part of that whole Bigfoot connection, I guess.
Another rabbit hole, if you will, to kind of go down.
Right. Exactly. And I am not
I'm by no means qualified.
Educated in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not.
go down that rabbit hole.
What was the other thing I was gonna say? What are the common? No, we
Oh my!
did that already.
That comment in the chat is so funny. Where's it at?
I already put it up.
Wait, is it the one I'm thinking of?
This one?
No, not that. That one was really funny too. It was the one where it said, "Bears no bitches." Sorry, Brent.
Oh yeah. 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 I laughed.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I'm gonna have to call Brent after this, and
He's probably watching. Listening in right there. Right here. Just Steve says bears, no bitches.
that's so funny. Oh my god.
You boop the snoot. I will not be booping no snoots out there. Sorry. How about the guy in Alaska with his girlfriend that got eaten? I know, right? Tinsdale,
No,
whatever his name.
Timothy Treadwell. Documentary Grizzly Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was out. So that's the other, like, people, like, those bears are not conditioned to people because he's way out in the middle of nowhere. And I watched the documentary. You want to like the guy, but at the same time, you hate what he was doing because it interviews like park rangers and people who are involved in wildlife. And basically what they were saying is like Timothy was getting animals used to people who should not be used to people because of how deep in the wilderness they are.
Uh-huh.
And not only that, but he's dealing with wild animals that he thought were like friends of his, and that kind of cost him his life. And sadly,
it did.
Well, yeah, kind of, but yeah, it did. Then it cost him somebody else's life.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I don't want to hate on Timothy Treadwell. I think what he's doing was noble. I don't think what he was doing was right. And I don't want to get backlash for any of that. So, I appreciate the gesture. He meant well. If that he meant well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it wasn't a good idea. R.I.P. to the both of them.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Why do people cling to these explanations instead of the physical causes? So, in some cases, when you have an experience you can't explain, it's their nature to explain it away with the paranormal. Footprint just disappeared. There was one footprint. Where are the rest of the footprints? Well, they stepped into a portal and they disappeared because that's the easiest thing to say.
It's in my opinion, it's a cop out.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of cop outs, and in cases like this, a cop out could be a paranormal cop out here. The footprint disappeared, so it went through a portal, cop out. Or maybe the footprint disappeared because the terrain it was walking on wasn't suitable anymore for leaving tracks.
Right.
I mean, there's that. A great explanation. One of my favorite things I like saying is something that Les Stroud talked about in the Survivorman Bigfoot episode. When he was walking down this dirt road, he found a tree break, right? And if you're a Bigfoot researcher and you see one tree break, you might be like, oh, that is done by a Bigfoot. But then Les Stroud was saying, he kind of stepped back and looked at more trees on the road, and he saw multiple broken branches on the edge, which signified to him the possibility if somebody had a trailer or something on their truck and drove down the road and broke multiple branches at a taller height that the trailer would set at, that a normal person couldn't do. And then a researcher sees one branch, chalks it up to Bigfoot, tree breaking branches, when it could have been a trailer breaking multiple branches, but they happened to see the one broken branch.
Mm-hmm.
So the power of suggestion could
Right.
lead the explanations instead of a physical cause.
And you can kind of backtrack that to other things like stick structures in the woods. Thomas Steenberg has mentioned many times that people didn't talk about structures in the woods until oh gosh, who suggested it? Was it Renee DeHinden or one of the researchers of the time had mentioned it, and then it just took off from there.
That's
know.
another thing too. I think with how popular everything is with the internet is nobody really talks about something until it's more publicly talked about among other people who are they have a higher following.
And he says that about many things. I mean, he talks about how nobody talked about Dogman until the Beast of Bray Road.
See, and I just want to point out, I think maybe you can agree with me on this, Nikki. Just because somebody has a following doesn't mean that they're right.
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
I think a good example to bring into the mix is Cliff Barackman. How many times have people heard Cliff say, I'm saying this, but I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. And I'm welcome to be proven wrong.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's a humble way of saying, hey, just because I have a following doesn't mean I am right.
Yeah.
Another good example from Cliff Barackman is in the beginning, he stood by the London tracks being real that he found. Or he was one of the people that helped find and document the London trackway.
Right. Uh-huh.
And those tracks, I think there was like 100-something tracks in the mud.
And the ones that came up fake?
Yeah, the ones that came up fake. At the beginning, he was like, these are real. But it turns out they were fake.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff was advocating for them being real, but it turns out he was wrong. Being notarized or having notoriety, being popular, having a following does not make you right. You have an opinion. I like this saying, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Right.
And my opinion doesn't make me more right or wrong than the next person.
Yet it happens a lot, actually.
It does.
People grab on, and the way the internet is, followers are, some of them will completely attach themselves to somebody, and they will defend them to the end, no matter what, no matter if they're proven right, wrong, whatever. That is their leader. Take me to your leader. They are all about them. So there's no going back from that.
Not at
right. Curious Cryptid says, in social media is popularity that is the most important.
Well, exactly. I mean, it goes back. Popularity is the most important, which means popularity means I'm right and you're wrong, which is not true. Not true.
What are we on? Okay. So that I think we came full circle on those. Let me see. Psychological phenomena and cultural myths. We talked about that. We talked about it's about encouraging open-mindedness and critical thinking while doing Bigfoot research, sticking to those facts and
Stick to the
not.
facts and don't the facts.
Yep, exactly. So that is the main part of the show right there, folks. Does anybody have any questions for Tate? Are you going to stick around for the second half, Tate, or are you going to prune up in your hot tub there?
Shoot, I've already been here 3 hours. I'll stick around for another whatever minutes.
Okay, so if let's see what I got. What do I got? Of course I've got show me
what you got.
Jim, you heard them. Said, show me what you got.
So today, when surfing the internet, of course, we go to those social groups. And what do we see but a dog man coming out of a tree? Yes, that is a picture of a dog man coming from a portal in a tree.
Really? I don't see it.
Yeah, it's just a shadow. But anyway.
Oh, I was being sarcastic.
It is getting a little crazy out there. I mean, surely this person knew what he was taking a picture of. And if he didn't,
from the local diner after having eggs, bacon, and hash browns and a cup of black coffee just to the woods behind the lake where he fishes at, and took a picture in a tree stand and said, "There's a dog man."
Yeah, this is the type.
Exactly what happened.
You just take a picture of anything and say there's a dog man or a Bigfoot or alien or whatever in it, and you're gonna get people who believe you. Hands down, they're gonna see whatever you see because you're making them see that.
Yeah, it's even better when you put a red circle around it too.
And a dog man in a pear tree. Is that what you're getting at, Robert? Because it's hilarious. I got it. Next up, we've got 2 examples of different Bigfoot sitting posture.
That looks like mud in the ground.
Yes, it does. It just looks like there's like no shape.
The left picture, look, those are that's grass.
Yeah, yep, it sure is.
That is grass with a Bigfoot in the middle between. So unless that's the world's tiniest Bigfoot ever recorded on camera.
Yeah, it would be pretty small.
Or that's just the classic pareidolia right there. And the other one just looks like a jagged rock in a pile of mud.
Yeah, it just doesn't compute, folks. That even the size, anything, none of it computes to be a Bigfoot.
No, just because you zoom in on your camera from like 30 feet away and you see a face doesn't mean it's Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a thing as like size and comparison.
I can't imagine. I would be so popular if I took one of my videos and just started popping out pictures, look at this, look at this, look at it. And people would just fall for it because they'll just fall for it. They don't ask any questions. They just accept, what's being told to them. And
I could probably take a picture of my turd in the toilet and be like, there's a Bigfoot swimming in this glass pond.
It's a baby Bigfoot. The hunter says it's a baby Bigfoot, so we got to believe him.
It's a baby Bigfoot that's like taller, like less than tall than a blade of grass. I don't think there's any animal that small.
Oh, look at that. Okay, next. This one came from the same guy. Okay. The first one says he took this picture after observing this guy pacing the tree line.
I don't know what the hell he's seen.
And when I kind of blew this picture up a little bit, I swear I could see Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch.
I see these two big old eyes in there, and I'm like, that's Stitch.
I see on the picture on the right, I see, you know, like when a dog has like a swollen anal gland or whatever, and it scratches its butt on the floor. That's what it looks like. It looks like to me the picture on the right is a black lab scratching on the carpet.
That one says,
that's what that one looks like.
I'd like to introduce myself and share a photo I captured on Google Earth on my blank something on my property.
Excuse, you said Google, these are on Google Earth?
So that one he found, the one on the right, your dog scratching his butt, that one is from Google Earth. He's just roaming Google Earth looking for Bigfoot photos.
Okay, is that a like one of those 3D renditions that Google made, or is that just like from a top view? Because I can't imagine you're going to get any detail from a Google Earth image.
Yeah.
At all.
It's going to be all well, this is just like pixelated. That's what you get. You see a woman's face under it? A woman's face. Under which one? Under the dog picture?
I don't see a woman's face.
I don't see a woman's face either. But let's find it, because see, then that's pareidolia.
That's pareidolia right there. There's a live example of that just happened.
Yeah.
One person sees it and other people aren't.
Okay, Robert says, in the crook of the tree, some distance behind him, there looks to be a dark figure. He did a follow-up, and you're talking about on Mark Green's Farmstead Life video?
That wasn't the thermal video, was it?
I don't know. Was it a thermal?
Was it a thermal? I don't know.
So
is Gary?
I don't know. I have not checked it out, Robert. So I'll check it out sometime. Let me write the name down.
These photos are the. I wouldn't even take these to anybody that I trust in the Bigfoot community, because I don't want to waste I don't even want to waste 2 minutes of my time showing this to my friends who I trust.
Yeah, I wouldn't show anybody who I normally show, hey, what do you think about this? Type of thing.
Check these pictures. What do you think? Oh crap, there went 2 minutes of my day that I'll never get back.
Well, everybody knows who I share stuff with. I mean, it goes straight to Brent or Jeff, Jonathan, just the same people that I bounce stuff off of. So, next. Okay. So recently, Meldrum put up a post about the Freeman footage, okay, in support of the Freeman footage. And it kind of sparked up some controversy with a bunch of people in there. But of course, we told Brent, and Brent went in there and gave him his mind about the Freeman footage. And Meldrum is responding to him. So if you want to have a good read into Meldrum, okay, you can find this post on his site, on his social media page, and you can see where he responds saying, "You are simply mistaken on every assertion you've made. I don't know where you're getting your information. And
I will say I am 50-50 on the Freeman footage.
I'm
I
all
know
over the place too.
I know Cliff has talked about Paul Freeman, and I know between myself, Jonathan Easley, Ron Reed, and Alex Petikoff, and Ontario, we've talked about the Ontario Richardson. We've talked about the Freeman footage in depth by ourselves and with other people.
Yeah. I lost you, Tate. I lost you there for a second.
What was the last thing you heard?
You were just talking about, you had talked about it with people.
So yeah, I talked about it with like close friends of mine that I'm in a group chat with, and we get the idea that Paul Freeman is probably misunderstood because that he was practicing making footprints to see if it was possible to make prints in his garden, and then on that calling him a hoaxer. And I can't remember if it was before the Freeman footage or after the Freeman footage. But I've never spoken to Paul Freeman ever. I have spoken to Michael Freeman in private, and I don't get like the sense that he's thinking his dad's a liar, and I don't think Michael is trying to cover up anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, it's one of those pieces of film footage to me that I would say is pretty damn good. If it's real, and if it's fake, it'd be pretty damn hard to fake something like that. So,
well, I always liked the second film, this film right here in 94. I liked it. I always did. And then I found out about the first one, about the first Freeman footage that went out. And it changed my mind. It changed my mind in the fact that, okay, now we have him showing other video that does not look real. He had opportunities for a suit. He had also a big statue that he had that they used to take around to here, I'll show you this picture right here. He had this big old statue that he used to carry around to all the presentations and conferences and stuff. And so what was that? Oh, I didn't know I was by myself.
I accidentally hit something.
So I just showed him how Freeman had that old big statue that he used to take around to all the presentations and conferences. And that's there were flags. That first film he had out has tons of flags in it. Okay. So for it to be real.
My thing is, can you go back to that picture with the costume?
Uh-huh.
So if that was, let's say, are people speculating that that's the costume in the footage that you see in the 94 footage?
I don't know if they're speculating that's the costume, but that he had opportunities to get costumes.
Well, let's say, let's for argument's sake, let's say like this picture here was the costume in the footage, because I will say honestly, it almost does look like a costume in the footage.
Yeah.
But you'd have to have somebody
big,
that tall to max out those proportions in that footage.
Which could be done with a basketball player.
And
they had a basketball player in the suit with the creature from the giant sequoias was a basketball player that was created by Sean Bannon. It was a student film created by Sean Bannon, and they had a 7-foot something tall dude in that suit.
It makes me wonder. So I know for the book they put out a 4K version of the Freeman footage, which I have never seen.
Um, have you not seen the baby footage?
Because apparently there's supposedly in the 4K footage they say
That picks up.
it picks up a baby. Yeah.
Yeah, I had not seen it until recently. And that made me go, whoa. It did. It made me step back and go, whoa.
Was it drastically more different than the footage that you have right here? Okay.
Yes. It
With more
was.
clarity?
And there was like a whole part that I had not seen that part. I mean, because you see little legs dangling.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what the heck? So there was more. And then I was like, well, maybe it's real. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe this, that. I don't know. I don't know.
That's where I'm kind of falling on between thinking it's real or thinking it's fake, because everybody that I've talked to that has seen the 4K footage of it's like, dude, it looks real, man. Like that 94 footage does not do justice.
Yeah, no, it does look different. And well, yeah. It picked up something with little legs in it. Looks like a little juvenile, Bigfoot, little black blob. I feel like gets picked up.
That would be hard to fake, or why would you fake that?
Why would you fake that? Yeah.
That. Why would you
know.
fake things harkens back to the Patterson Gimlin film. Why would you fake a female Bigfoot versus a male Bigfoot?
Right.
When a costume to make a male Bigfoot would be easier than to make a female costume with breasts that bounce in the footage.
Yeah.
So
I know everybody says they all bounce. I don't see that. I don't see the bounce action, but
I think
I don't see the big old hemorrhage in the leg either. I see like pants being bunched up underneath the suit.
Oh,
every time I see that, I'm like, there's his jeans bucked up inside the suit. Anyway, it doesn't matter though. We're in the same place we are, whether it's real or it's not real. We've had two situations really that have stood up to time, and it is the Freeman footage and the P&G film, and nothing's that I could ever say will change it. Nothing anybody else will say will change it. We can discuss how there's red flags on both, but it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't get us any closer to the truth.
Yeah, doesn't matter. But I love looking at them. It'll never change that those are the number one and number two so far that we've gotten. And there's people who say, oh, there's much better stuff, but it's not being shown, and it's being kept close to their chest. They're not going to let anybody see some of this footage that supposedly is out there. Did it change my mind? Steve asks. It didn't change my mind either way, other than it gave me another like whoa for the other side. You have the red flag side, and then you have the whoa, that looks cool side, and that was definitely a whoa, that looked cool side.
You're kind of giving into it.
Yeah, so there's marks, there's tick marks on both sides of the scale, let's just say.
Patterson Gimlin film, Paul Freeman film, I don't think we'll ever know. Ever.
We won't. Now, I do feel that there's validity with the tracker, that was hired to go around and look for those footprints. And I don't see any issues with him making statements that he thinks they were fake,
See, well,
Meldrum here will make the point that he says he doesn't know how to look for the foot morphology. So, and I'm like, well, you're trying to say that Bigfoot has just like a human foot, but bigger. So why couldn't he track just a bigger foot? It didn't make sense to me what Meldrum said at all in that whole thing. So you'll have to
It's
go check all that out.
it's funny because we were talking about like footprints and stuff, and a buddy of mine, we were just at Cliff Barackman's museum not too long ago, and we're thinking about like again going back to the London trackway that Cliff helped find. The key thing with all the tracks is that they looked very perfect, and they didn't really look too much different from one another, which indicated to him in the long run, now he knows more about tracks, is that it was more likely faked, which it was. Another thing that you can kind of show is Ray Wallace, some of the trackways that were found by Ray Wallace. They were all kind of uniform and the same shape with not much difference. Now, when it comes to the Patterson Gimlin film, you got the whole thing with Bob Hieronymus was in the costume, right? And this and that. And one could make the argument that it would be faked. But the other reason I don't think it is faked is because the multiple tracks that were found at the film site. Now, if Bob Titmus was never in the picture or involved with anything having to do with the Patterson Gimlin film after the fact, then there would be a higher room for conversation about the PG film being faked. And that's because Roger Patterson only casted the perfect looking tracks. And again, going back to the London Trackway and Ray Wallace, those tracks look too perfect. But the fact is, Bob Titmus was involved. And Bob Titmus being an expert tracker versus Patterson, was Bob Titmus casted the imperfect tracks. And that's where you get the famous Lyle Laverty photo of that track that's in the ground, of the same one that Bob Titmus casted, that shows how the foot interacted with the ground. And it shows the mid-tarsal break that Meldrum always talks about, that's evident in Bigfoot tracks. It's a key indicator that it was made, which metatarsal break is in the middle of the foot on a Bigfoot. But in a human, it's closer to the front of your foot. So the tracks that Titmus casted shows that it was made by a living foot and not somebody in a costume with stompers. So we had a good conversation about that. A buddy of mine did. And we're like, man, yeah, Bob Titmus kind of actually saved everything and added more validity to the PG film being real versus fake.
In regards to Grasshopper saying that arm puppets can be made into Bigfoot babies being carried, like the Independence footage, which I do believe is like an arm puppet. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
This footage of this one, you don't see that, because when it's being picked up, you see the legs. Okay, you don't really see the arms doing anything. You see little legs. Now, and it happens so fast, you can't really tell if the legs are just dangling or if they're moving. You can't tell. You can't tell that part. It just, something's happening there.
And let's not forget, like, this was in 1994. I'm assuming ventriloquism. How do you say that word? I don't think it's always done by the mouth. You can do it sleight of hand with your hands, with puppets and stuff. But I think in 1994 that'd be a lot harder than today's technology. And
yes, they do.
To kind of go back to saying maybe the 4K version was altered with AI. I think we can use a common example with AI altering Bigfoot footage today, aka Todd. What's it? I'm forgetting his last.
Standing.
No, not. God, what the?
Who?
You, Brent, and I just talked about a whole episode of them. Now I'm forgetting it. Is it Todd? Yeah, Todd Gatewood. Todd Gatewood.
Oh, Gatewood.
There is a classic example of modern AI on.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just my 2 cents.
But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that that was going on currently, and you guys should go read all that because it's getting interesting over there. Especially if Meldrin makes a point of answering one of Brent's question is, do you think, that how did he state it? Oh shoot, I don't have it on here. But he asked him directly if he thinks that Freeman faked any footage. So it'll be interesting to see if he answers any of that. Next, we've got something. We've got headlines. I can't find my headlines music though. Here we go. So in Bigfoot headlines this week, we've got, Bigfoot Ranch has the perfect hunting lodge for an action-packed life.
That's Ronnie LeBlanc. Why is he on here?
Yeah, hold on. No, the one on the top there. So, Bigfoot Ranch has the perfect hunting lodge for the action-packed life. This South Texas ranch has miles of hunting opportunities. And Hill Country reporter noted, tired of going to HEB to find the perfect Thanksgiving turkey? This massive South Texas ranch could help you find that last-minute turkey just by stepping outside. Bigfoot Ranch in Moore along I-35 South offers plenty of hunting opportunities with over 1,100 acres of Frio country land, according to a listing from Texas Ranch Sales Associate Stacy Gross. This price is currently unlisted. So the Bigfoot Ranch presents an ideal opportunity to own a nice recreational ranch and hunting operation in South Texas.
I just want to live there and be away from people and just drink beer.
That's the kind of place this is. It's out there in the boonies. So that is that. And then we have out of Action Web why there might be a Bigfoot sighting at a casino in Washington this week. Dave Grudensky writes, we're not sure if you'll spot Bigfoot at the blackjack table, but if you ever hoped to see a creature at a casino, here's your chance. Every November, the Connaught Bigfoot Beach Resort and Casino in Ocean Shores hosts the Sasquatch Summit, inviting researchers, witnesses, enthusiasts, and skeptics to explore the mystery of the elusive creature. So that is coming up. That is coming up. Then we have December 7th, Bigfoot presentation with Discovery Channel's Ronnie LeBlanc coming to the library. Manchester Public Library, that is, November 22nd, 2024. He's going to be doing What is Bigfoot? It's a free event at the Manchester City Library located at 405 Pine Street, Manchester, New Hampshire on Saturday, December 7th at 12:30 p.m. So he's going to be talking about stuff. So there's that one. And the last one coming up is out of the Irish Star. Bigfoot's breeding in Canadian forests, science claim. The giant man-ape-like creatures have been spotted in the wild due to the fact that they have been mating and are living in large packs, according to experts. Who are these experts? I want to know. They say Bigfoot is real and has been procreating. According to scientists, these forest-dwelling creatures have been allegedly spotted in woodlands mating and reportedly living in large packs deep within the woods. The Sasquatch was studied by explorers seeking evidence of their existence in the dense forest of British Columbia, Canada. Leading cryptozoologist Brittany Barberi, host of the Discovery documentary Lost Monster Files, believes she was observed by Yeti families during her research in the wilderness. That didn't make sense. She stated, the Sasquatch is rooted in mythology, so much so there are even signs around the forest saying Sasquatch crossing, and they do Sasquatch tours of places they have been spotted.
the
So
whole science being in the forest is just people wanting to get people to be interested in the Bigfoot topic.
right, for
Is it
sure. Who is this Barbary Brittany? Do you know her?
No, I don't.
Brittany?
But it makes me think of, like, if I was gonna put up a sign, a street sign that said Unicorn Crossing, and made this place a popular destination for unicorn stories, people would be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. Huh. So crazy.
I've never
okay.
seen a Bigfoot crossing street sign on the highway, and thought for a minute to slow down from my 85-mile-an-hour driving speed limit to the 65-mile-an-hour speed limit in the middle of nowhere. I'll just keep heading my course.
We have to be on the lookout. Okay, I'm not even going to play that music. So this is a guy with this channel. He's got about 222 videos. He's got over 10,000 subscribers. He's called Cabin in the Woods, and he's been doing a bunch of stuff on Bigfoot. Okay, and I think I posted something maybe in my community page about him. He posted something about the suit claims debunked. He puts out, and then he dropped a couple of hours ago, Believer versus Skeptic, where somebody berated him on social media, and he goes into the whole thing. Now, the one thing about this is that at least he's willing to have the conversation, because we did have a little back and forth, okay? And he acknowledged me. He didn't blow me off. He didn't call me names. I didn't call him names. We just had a conversation. And that's what struck me as a good thing. Okay. Even though we're on opposite sides, that we could still have a conversation. I went to his channel and I subbed. It was simple as that. You can have a different opinions about people and what they think, and you don't have to be nasty about it. If people have questions, they have questions. As long as they don't make it personal, you're fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinion,
Yeah,
and that's just the way things go.
I like having
So,
conversations with people that have different opinions. I mean, it's funny because I have conversations with people. I will. How do I say it? It gets heated, but it's not like the kind of heated where you hate each other. It gets like, it's an intense conversation of
right.
opinions, but at the end of the day, you still like, oh, whatever. We're still good friends.
Right. And even though when you're reading some of the comments on some of his videos, I can tell he likes MK Davis. He likes Thinker Thunker. He likes these people who have kind of taken over and have kind of swooned people into believing their bullshit. That's okay. That's his opinion. He has the right to believe in whatever he does. I'm not of that, but at least he listened to what I had to say, and he said thank you, and I appreciated that. So take this as a plug if you want. Take this as, go look at his videos. Let me know what you guys think about his opinion on some of these things, because I don't have an opinion about PNG like most. Most people believe in it wholeheartedly. Me not so much, because it doesn't really matter. But it's okay. It's okay. You can still like me. Even though you don't believe in some of the crap I say. But it's all good. It's all good. And that's just and that's the rest of the story. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. I think that's probably enough. Right. I don't know if Squatch D is going on tonight. I did not notice if there was a thumbnail out there. Does somebody know?
Well, Steve.
Yeah. If Calls is having any kind of thing going on.
If he does, I'm gonna go troll him.
You're gonna troll.
I love
Jen
I love
is
podcasts and trolling them during their lives. It's
see, I knew Jen would be the first one to let me know. Steve is a go. He's going on tonight. So
troll time.
So that'll be good. We'll probably see you all over there in that chat. But thanks, Tate, for coming. And this was all Tate's idea, actually. Tate contacted me.
It was
I don't know what time this morning.
For some reason, I messaged like another group chat, and then I just kind of went on this rant about sleep paralysis and Bigfoot because it's been on my mind. And he's like, we should turn it into a live show.
Like, we're gonna do this because I didn't have anything yet planned. I was just starting to get ready, and I thought, oh my god, what am I gonna do a show on? And Tate popped up, and I'm like, yes, we're gonna make this work. You better come on.
It's so funny,
and it worked. It was a good conversation.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, there was a few things I missed, but it's okay. It's always better to have more than less in this type of situation. So anyway, thank you again for coming on and talking shop with me here. Appreciate it for sure. And don't forget, guys, to show me a little love and hit that subscribe button. I would totally appreciate it. And see you guys in the next chat. Bye.